What's up,
Wesley? I decided to try something new this time.
John, you're so bad at this. You're fired.
No, I say we keep it in. They need to know that we're human.
It's still recording.
I know it is. Ava doesn't do well with mess ups.
Okay. You really want... Okay.
Sure.
Okay,
no.
Welcome back.
My name will not be attached to this. Do that again.
No. I say that we sail this ship into the dusk.
All right.
All right.
The vibe today.
Welcome back to the Charleston Wesley podcast, where we make ministry available on the go. I'm Ava, and I'm the Wesley worship intern.
I'm John, and I am sowing seeds of chaos this episode. I don't know why, but I chose to. And we have a very special guest in this chaotic experience. It is, once again, Miss Ella Kasten.
Woo!
Yay. It's a girl, Ella K, back in the podcast studio.
Ooh, wee! You know what's real fun, listeners, is that we are recording this well in advance of Thanksgiving. And the reason that we're doing that is because my wife is pregnant and is supposed to have a baby.
Baby poo.
Baby poo. Right on Thanksgiving Day. And that could happen. By the time this comes out, maybe that's already happened.
Whoa.
Maybe it hasn't happened. So we're kind of speaking in advance, but we're glad that you listen to this. And also, we just hope that your Thanksgiving break is going good and that we appreciate you, listening to us over the break. And just have fun this break. But I got a really important question. It's been kind of disturbing me for weeks. Haven't slept because of it.
Oh, no.
What's y'all's go-to Thanksgiving?
Okay, that's good.
Thanksgiving bit of the meal. What is it?
Pumpkin pie, man.
Whoa. You went straight for dessert.
I did.
Sister. Ooh,
Oh, for dinner,
pumpkin
though,
pie kind of freaks me out.
cornbread pudding.
Interesting. I don't think I've had that.
What?
I don't think so.
What? Jump
Yeah, what is that?
It's like...
I mean, I've had cornbread and I've had pudding, so is it just that?
No. It's
Okay.
kind of like cream of corn mixed into cornbread.
I call it corn casserole.
Oh, I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's
that
called
is
different
so
things.
good, dude.
I think I would take 2 servings of that over turkey.
That, dude.
I'm not a turkey person.
Yeah, I'm not really a turkey person either anymore. I once was, but now I've been found.
What changed?
I don't know. I just like, my mom's always had, like, every single Thanksgiving that we've done, there's always been turkey and ham, and I've just realized that,
You've gone for the ham?
I'm a ham dude.
Me too.
I do get turkey, but big fan of the ham. I don't know if that's my go-to though, but if held a gun to my head and you asked me which one to put on my plate, I'm gonna do ham. What about you, Aves? What are you most looking forward to?
This is a really difficult conversation to have.
I didn't know that we hit the sensitive area of your life.
No, well, it's just I just love Thanksgiving food so much. The holiday itself, it's still great, but like the food's it, like the thankfulness part, like.
Yeah, that's what the whole episode.
I know
about, so
we're gonna
maybe
talk
we don't
about
disparage.
Being
that
thankful.
But no, I love being thankful. But like, I don't. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not thinking about I'm thankful. I'm thinking about food. Like. But so corn casserole. I think like my grandmama's version. Shout out Linda if you are listening to this. She knows. Like our whole family loves her corn casserole, and then I also like dressing. Some people call it stuffing. But, like, we do it as a side, so I think that's why, like, Southerners call it dressing, I think, sometimes.
I think it's how you cook it.
Yeah, my grandma puts it in the turkey.
Yeah, and so in that, it's,
how,
like, stuffing.
Yeah.
We do it as a side dish, so it's, like, dressing
Well,
instead.
see, the weird thing is that the verb for putting stuff in the turkey is dress. Like, if you dress a turkey, then that means you're putting stuff in it. So it doesn't make any sense either way you slice it.
Well, either way, I
It's
like
good.
it.
I like that pun, too. That was good.
And then the last thing I'll say is that I love potatoes. Like, I love any way you can make a potato, but especially, controversial take, I think baked potatoes are better than mashed potatoes. Oftentimes, I feel like we do mashed potatoes, but, like, if there's a baked potato on the spread, I'm grabbing for it,
Yeah, see, baked potatoes, I'm not into them. I just feel like after a while, they just taste like potato.
You have to, like, have like large amount of toppings because I'm the thing where I eat the toppings first and then I add more toppings for the last.
See, that's what I was gonna say is that I just get annoyed with baked potatoes because I always feel like I need to add toppings again. Whereas mashed potatoes, if you get spoon it on your plate, put the salt, put the pepper, put cheese in there, and then you all mix it up, then you don't have to add it again.
Yeah.
You know? I'm a big fan of dressing. I like that a lot. Also, a real big fan of green bean casserole.
I've been dying to try it.
I don't like green beans.
That's fair.
I'm offended.
There's grace for it. I get it. I understand why. My father-in-law makes some killer green bean casserole every year. He also makes like a sweet potato thing, but sweet potatoes freak me out.
Oh, that's another thing I like is that like sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows and stuff on top.
Yeah, yeah. But you went immediately for pumpkin pie, so that's your go-to dessert.
Yeah.
Right? What about you?
Go to dessert
For Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I make this like
you make it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I love to cook, by the way, to the listeners.
Wow.
If you ever need something made, I'm your girl. Actually, don't call me up like randomly to make you something. But I like to make like this like cinnamon apple dessert thing where it's like basically cinnamon apple like cinnamon apple pie filling like on the bottom and then like a pie like crumble thing on top and then like tons of butter because like butter
Yum.
makes everything better, and so it's kind of like a apple pie casserole, I guess is
That
how I
sounds
would
delicious.
put it. I want to make something clear that by the time that this episode is released, you will be in Myrtle Beach back home for Thanksgiving, and I may have a newborn baby, but I do expect a pie on my porch within 2 weeks of your return with that goodness. Because that sounds too good for you to not share with me.
We should like make you a little pre-Thanksgiving
Just me,
thing.
though. Just me.
Not
Hannah.
She's going to get fed at the hospital. I'm the one that's going to have to figure out what to do. So.
Poor you, John.
It's real tough. I mean,
You're really the one inconvenienced.
Yeah,
here.
we don't talk about the journey that a man goes through during pregnancy.
We're all kidding, guys.
We are
joking.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of pecan pie.
Ooh.
I do love pecan
Controversial, but yeah.
pie. I like it. Like that a lot. Pumpkin pie kind of freaks me out. It's a weird texture thing, and I used to like it a lot, but it weirds me out.
I eat it from the inside out, starting in the middle. I will buy myself a pumpkin pie early in November and just work my way to the edge and throw away the crust.
Dude, that is so chaotic, and I love that. I got to do that. I've never done that before. I wonder if
then you have to eat a pumpkin pie.
Well, see, but my thing is like...
You can do it with anything.
The crust is like what...
Oh, yeah. The crust is the worst.
What?
Oh, what?
No.
I think it's the best. So that's why I like to start like...
It tastes like cardboard.
I like it with
type of
it.
crust
Like,
do you
I don't
eat?
eat either by themselves. I like every piece of pie to have some filling and some, like, crust in my bite. My fork bite.
I love the crust, man. That's a hot take. I do love most pies.
I will
except
give you the
pumpkin
crust after I finish the filling of the pie.
I don't know if I
will
want
just
your
hand deliver
inside
to you
out.
my inside out.
I would rather
pumpkin pie.
get Ava's thing on my porch.
That is...
You're getting both.
And it'll be like, oh, that's so nice of Ava. And I'll be like, yeah, this is what
Ella's half-eaten pumpkin pie.
that the raccoons were eating. Like,
My raccoon hands just scooping it out.
yeah, dude, Thanksgiving's such a goated holiday.
Yeah, I've had my highs and lows with it.
You see, the thing about Thanksgiving is like, I really hate going around all these people.
So now you don't have to this year.
Dude, I like real talk. Maybe I shouldn't say that. No, real talk. I am like so thankful that I have an excuse to get out of like family gatherings for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay,
And
that's out in public now.
no, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. I love my parents. I love my brother. I love my in-laws dearly. I love my brother-in-law. I love my sister-in-law. I love my niece. All that's well and good. It's when you start getting all these other people. And like I like aunts and uncles and cousins stuff.
Your cousins, dogs, neighbors,
yeah,
friends.
you know, and it's just like I don't want to meet you. I don't want to get to know you. Like, dude, I sound so terrible.
No, it's good.
No, but like, my job is to like meet people and like talk with people and like keep up conversations, and I just don't want to do that on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? And you don't have to do that with family. But the funny thing is that my father-in-law is the same way, and we're just always like, we just don't want to be around all these people. And so me and Dempsey will just sit in the corner during the entire Thanksgiving thing and just not talk to each other, and we're just fine.
Wow. Sounds like a great bond there.
Dempsey is like such good.
And I think this Thanksgiving is going to be something you're really thankful for, is rest. So we're talking about being thankful this episode.
We'll see.
That was a good... I think she was trying to segue.
Yeah, and the reason I got quiet is because I realized what you're doing after the fact.
You could keep going. I was just adding one in there.
No, that was good. That was good.
No, that was good. I just feel bad now.
You should.
I say we have like 3 seconds of silence, and then we move into the first
Don't
question.
do that. That is... I'm just going to cut it out. Let's just move on, guys. I can't do the awkward silence. John, talk! Oh my...
You can't do it. All right. We want to offer a quick preface, because we're going to delve into the history of Thanksgiving. We want to just throw out a few things. First, some people don't love this holiday, and that's fine. They don't like spending time with their family because they got some things going on with their family, and we get that, and we respect that. Also, Ava's going to lift up a little bit of the history of Thanksgiving, and the story of Thanksgiving is a very good thing, right? Two people coming together to be grateful, right? And cultures coming together and all that stuff. History can be a little tougher. We're not here to really add value statements or anything like that, but should anything come up where you feel like we're not being a good witness, one, we would appreciate you letting us know, because we try to be good witnesses of Christ's love in this world, but also, just some grace in realizing that we're just trying to have fun, talk about Thanksgiving. This is not a history podcast. The episode's not really about Thanksgiving. It's actually about gratitude, but that's what this holiday's kind of been synonymous with. So, Ava, before we jump into kind of the theology of it, do you want to offer us the quick history that you've kind of dug up about Thanksgiving and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of us growing up probably in schools learned about like the American concept of Thanksgiving and how the first Puritans and the Pilgrims came over to America. Puritans came over, I think, because of religious reasons. They didn't vibe with what the King of England was laying out for religion, and the King of England was like, no, you gotta either stick with this, die, or leave. And so they left. And so I think we've heard a lot about like that history, but while doing some of that research, I saw that some like historical records say that Native Americans actually celebrated their own like autumn harvest before settlers ever came. So kind of this like concept of a Thanksgiving kind of existed before even what we think of as like the first Thanksgiving. And, like the Native Americans, what I read about was that they were like very thankful for Mother Earth. They were thankful for what she had given them, like for nature, for creation, and also for connection. So I dove into that a little bit more, and Native Americans apparently like had a big philosophy about just giving to give, basically. So they gave without the expectation of getting something in return. And, I just thought that was a really cool history moment, because I often think about Thanksgiving as like that first one with the Pilgrims and the Puritans, but in this sense, it all existed before they even came over. And so, yeah, that first Thanksgiving holiday that we think about involved the, hopefully I don't butcher this name, the Wampanoag tribe. And many historians think that the Wampanoags gave a lot of the food for that dinner, and then they also taught some agricultural and hunting skills to the settlers. And the Wampanoag tribe had like multiple of these harvest festivals that I was mentioning earlier. They had those throughout the year. And so one spokesperson for that tribe on this blog I was reading actually said like, hey, maybe like people can look at that concept of having it throughout the year, and like he was encouraging us to have more Thanksgiving events, like not just in November, but like maybe have one in February, maybe have one in June, which was also, I feel like, a pretty cool concept. So yeah, honestly, like I've always, when I think about Thanksgiving, I think about it as the holiday of gratitude, which is this like episode theme, but like that's really focusing on like the thanks part of the word, and there's like also the giving part of like Thanksgiving, which I just thought was a really cool history moment. So yeah, that's some of the history. It kind of is like, to have a thankful heart, you should probably also have like a giving one, which I thought was pretty cool.
Wow.
That is really cool.
Golf clap for Ava.
Thank you.
So what are we most thankful for right now? Grateful for? Doesn't have to be the most, but like, what's something that you're grateful for?
There's just so much. I mean,
for me, it's my like educational opportunities.
Yeah.
Because like when I went to college, I think a lot of my friend circle was going, and then when I actually left, I realized how many people either didn't get that opportunity or, you know, chose to do something else, which is cool too. But grateful for that I got to do what I wanted to do and go to college, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you lifted that up, because like, we talked about this in the complaining episode a long time ago, but college students really, really, really they're very disparaging about like college, and like, not saying that college is easy or anything like that, but it is such a blessing. Like, it is such a blessing to like do this, and like, oh man, dude, I loved college, and like thinking back on it, I was just like so grateful for it. Yeah, I mean, like Ella said, like so much, right, to be thankful for. I think for me, I would probably say like one of the most recurring things is like my job, like thankful for it, and like what I get to do, and just like how awesome it is. You know, my wife, my dogs and cats, like just the list goes on and on. Do you feel gratitude on a daily basis? Do you celebrate gratitude on a daily basis?
I don't as much as I should.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I really have to work at.
I think, like, when my prayer life's good, I feel like I normally have a moment in there where I'm like, oh, I'm thankful for blank, blank, and blank. And so that, in a way, is, like, good daily gratitude practice. But when it, like, prayer is always something that I need to get better at. So there's often times when I'm not strong in that practice. And, like, so yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, I could definitely do a lot more of, like, a daily, like, thinking about how lucky I am and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I when I pray, I do try to include some thanks in there, but I fail. You know, sometimes I forget. Sometimes I don't get around to like having like a really dedicated prayer time. I've really been trying to work at like saying thank you, and I've been like saying like you are appreciated to a lot of people lately, because like in this season of like the baby on the way, like so many people are stepping up to help Hannah and I cannot like put into full words like how much of a blessing that is in my life, and so I've just kind of like shrunk it down to like you are appreciated, because that seems to be sufficient in like articulating that. But it is kind of like phenomenal how much help and just blessings and you know, just encouragement we've gotten from so many people. I do think that we should celebrate gratitude on a daily basis. And I think there's some obstacles, right? Sometimes we have bad days, sometimes we have good days. When do you think it's easiest to be grateful? When like things are going great, do you remember to thank God? Or when things are going rough, do you remember to thank God for what's good?
See, I feel like most people answer, like, when they... I feel like most people say that their relationship overall with God is better when times are good. But, like, to me, it's kind of... I think what you were kind of saying was, like, I don't always, like, either remember or make it a priority when my life's good. So, like, when it's bad, honestly, I probably, like, think about expressing gratitude, praying, doing all of that stuff more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier for me to see the good things in life when they're this is not going to sound great, but when it doesn't feel like there's as many things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to pick out things that are going well when not everything has been going well lately.
Yeah. You know, I kind of feel the same way. Like because I have like seasonal depression. Well, I don't know. It's either seasonal depression or major depressive disorder that's just really, really rhythmic. But I find myself in those depressive episodes actually being like hyper aware of the good things. And that's kind of a strategy that I've just ingrained in myself. But, you know, when things are good, I do find myself like taking for granted like how great it is to have a dog that like is so pumped to see me. You know what I mean? Like simple stuff like that, or like how wonderful, food from Kairos is. You know what I mean? Like you just forget about it.
I feel like as someone that also struggles with major depressive disorder, when you go through depressive episodes, I feel like I feel more gratitude on my way back up. So like as I'm getting better, I realize, man, why didn't I realize this was so great when I was not feeling well emotionally, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that, because I definitely empathize with that. And also, like, I think that it's really easy to, like, feel guilty in that moment of just be like, oh, man, I did not appreciate this.
I took that for granted.
Yeah, I took that for granted. But, like, if you can just kind of release yourself from that, it is very life-giving. So I appreciate you sharing that. What influences our gratitude? We kind of talked about that. What influences our gratitude, and what are some obstacles that could make it difficult to express gratitude?
In a weird way, like maybe people showing gratitude back towards you could influence your own gratitude. Like, I'll be honest, if someone is constantly telling me, like, thank you for, you know, washing the dishes, or thank you for, I don't know, holding that door, it's like, man, these people are saying thank you to me. I need to start saying this more often to people. So yeah, I think how much like gratitude you're shown could, in a weird way, affect how much you show other people.
Yeah. I think when you have beef with someone,
I was about to,
it can be tough to show gratitude towards them. You know, which with roommates, with significant others, and with coworkers, like, you know, your roommate, you could have had like a big blowout with them, and then they took the trash to the street. You know what I mean?
What do you
say? And it's just kind of like, oh man, like, thanks for taking out the trash. You know, like, or like coworkers where it's like this really uncomfortable conversation that you had to have, and then it's just like, I appreciate that you did that. You know, I think that can be an obstacle. I also think that that's a really good witness to actually express gratitude through that tension. But yeah,
I think it's hard for me to express gratitude when someone's carrying out a task that was already expected of them, and I feel like I don't deserve gratitude either. Like, if I'm just doing my job or like accomplishing something on the chore chart, like, I'm like, oh, you don't have to say thank you for that, or I don't have to say thank you to them. That was just expected.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
I think it's really important to still show gratitude through that.
I also think it's really hard to thank people for doing what you don't want them to do. And that's like a weird situation to be in, but like, we talk about the ministry of rebuke, right? I've had people like tell me that I'm wrong, and to be like, thank you. You know, like I don't really appreciate you right now. You're making me really upset, but like at the same time, like I am grateful that you are actually disagreeing with me, because I need you to, you know. And so I think that can be kind of a weird thing too.
Yeah.
Did you figure out where you were going?
No, it is all on the tip of my tongue, and that's probably going to keep me up at night, but it's okay.
Okay.
We can move on.
Well, I had another thing too, but I just completely forgot about it, if that makes you feel better.
Oh my gosh.
It was going off of what you said, where like you have trouble when people thank you for doing something that was like expected of you. I think a good way of approaching gratitude is allowing other people to express gratitude to you, because, and I've noticed this too, like, and like, I feel really bad about it, but like, I don't receive compliments well. Like, I just don't. And that's really ironic, because we talk about like how I'm a words of affirmation guy. But I just don't receive them well. And it was a Monday night worship, and my mind was in a million places. It was kind of a rough day, and I was about to preach, and we had just like transitioned into music, so I was like running up the stairs to like I think grab food or whatever, and a student stopped me, and like that immediately like kind of frustrated me because I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff to do. And he said, John, I have never really had a family until I came to Wesley, and I just want to thank you for that. And in my busyness, I was like, hey, I like thank you for saying that. Go join your friends like in worship or whatever. And then I just like walked off and like was really dismissive of this like very vulnerable, very moving confession of admiration and Christian love. And oh man, I feel so bad about it. Like I just like hate that I did not have like a good response. And I realized then and there that if we do not let others thank us, then we're actually cutting off their opportunity to love us and their opportunity to celebrate gratitude, Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with like gifts, a lot of students always feel weird about fundraising for things. And they're like, I don't really want to ask my aunt for $20 to go on a mission trip. And I always am saying like, well, maybe your aunt loves you, and this is an opportunity. Like, and she doesn't know what to buy you for your birthday every year, and this is actually your opportunity. Like, you're creating space for her to love you in that way. So I think that we could kind of adopt gratitude in that same way of like, maybe it makes us uncomfortable, maybe we don't feel like we need it, but we should still accept it. We should still acknowledge it because that's that person trying to be affectionate.
Yeah.
But the Bible tells us a lot about gratitude. It tons of Psalms give thanks to God. Tons of Psalms tell us to be thankful. Yeah, I mean, like it's just kind of ridiculous how many different passages all kind of talk about gratitude, and also how many different passages are something that we should be grateful for. Like the Bible is just in and of itself a great blessing. But two short scriptures that I want to lift up to you. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, starting at verse 16, says, "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you." Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances. Not in the good circumstances, not in the bad circumstances, in all circumstances. And I think that that's a really important thing, especially when we were kind of talking about mental health, is that even if you do feel like you're in the dumps and that there isn't anything redeeming about you or your day or whatever, there is. And we should give thanks to God in those situations. And that's really, really tough to tell to someone who has just gone through a breakup and is like really struggling to figure out like what their place in the world is now that their identity has shifted like this. But to realize that there is still goodness and things to be grateful for is such a release from the pressure. And so we are called to give thanks in all circumstances. And in some ways we need to give thanks to God, but we also need to give thanks to the people. If you really love your grandmother's what was it?
Corn casserole.
Corn casserole. Then you need to tell Grandma that you're super thankful for it.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that like we just, as life goes, there are opportunities gone to express gratitude to people on this side of life, and that's a really tough truth. But like, there are things that I wish I said to people who are gone from my life now that like I just didn't get it out for whatever reason. And be sure you thank the people that you're thankful for as soon as you can. And this is a great season to do that. The other passage that I'm going to lift up is, it has nothing to do with like giving thanks, but I think it's a good mindset, is from James chapter 1, verse 2. "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters." Also, there's some thunder happening if you hear that, listeners. "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kind." And James goes on to talk about how these trials actually produce in us steadfastness and perseverance. And my point is that when we go through the rough parts, we are able to, we should keep our eye on the prize and realize that God can work through this, and that God will work through this, and that God is with us in that. And that is inherently something to be grateful for. Any thoughts on that? Any other scripture that comes to mind?
I'm trying to pull it up, but my internet's not working super great. But one that comes to my mind is Lamentations. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's thought to be written by Jeremiah during the taking of Jerusalem by Babylon. And all these terrible things are happening in chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the whole book. It's just 5 chapters. But in the very middle, it said, but God is still good, and he still loves us. So it's just an interesting mindset to have, that maybe not everything's going to work out well, but God's enough, and he'll get us through it. Yeah.
Lamentations is such a good book. It gets overlooked so much, but I love Lamentations.
And I just love that it's the exact middle of the book, so it's framed by all these terrible things, but at the center there's still God.
Yeah.
I think it's, being thankful to God is just as important as being thankful to other people.
Yeah. When I think of gratitude, one of the things that I love is the story of Hannah in 1 Samuel, where she really wants a kid and she doesn't get one, and she still goes to the temple and praises God despite that. And then what's even cooler is that when she finally has Samuel, she gives Samuel to the temple. She gives it back to God. Which kind of tangential, but still kind of in the umbrella of this episode. That's kind of our understanding of the offertory in church, right? Is that God gives us gifts through our paychecks, through our jobs, through whatever we do, and we give back a little bit to show love and gratitude for what God has given us, right? That's one way of looking at it. Some people say that well, no, they are his tithes, which I actually do subscribe to that. That if God gives, then it's actually God's. So really, it's his tithe that we're giving. But anyway, just some things to think about with expressing gratitude. That's a great way to show love to a faith community and to God, is by supporting. And that's also a great way to show support to something that you're super passionate about. Maybe you're super passionate about PETA. Maybe you're super passionate about, the local soup kitchen or Star Gospel or College of Charleston. They have a food pantry for students who are struggling with food insecurity. Maybe just go buy a few cans and put it in there. There's a lot of ways to show gratitude to those things that serve you or that you're passionate about.
I have a question that's kind of tangential to what you were talking about. Is it difficult to be thankful when God doesn't give you what you want?
Oh yeah, I think that we think we know best.
Yeah.
And so when God doesn't do what we want, oh man, God, what are you doing? What's wrong with you, God? And it's well, no. Sorry, John, you don't need the Lamborghini. And I'm not going to just bless you with one out of thin air.
I have another tangential question. Is there any specific moments in the Bible where we can see God being thankful? Well, I know through his giving and through his blessings.
Yeah, that's a good
but
question.
I'm talking about him genuinely just. Is he showing more through his actions instead of his words?
Well, I do think that he shows through his actions a lot, but can you think of anything, or do you want me to jump in?
I think when God recognizes that people have not strayed from him, and he bestows them with special gifts or spiritual gifts, material gifts, whatever it may be, to keep doing his work. That's an interesting.
Yeah. There is kind of some relational elements there. The only thing is that I don't necessarily want to suggest that the relationship with God is transactional. Correct. But God does kind of see people who are equipped to do what he needs them to do, and so then he equips them even more to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I two examples jumped straight in my head, and one of them you're going to be like, oh, duh, but I think you could say the Sabbath when he rests in creation. I think that he is just so grateful for how cool creation is, right? And in some ways, like he's like grateful to himself to be like, God, this is really good work. Pat myself on the back, right? But
I think I know what you're gonna say.
What?
Jesus.
Well, what about him? What about Jesus?
That he was given to us.
Oh, well, no, that's not
okay.
exactly what I was gonna say. But
you take it away.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
On the night which Jesus was betrayed, he gathered with his disciples, and he took bread, and he gave thanks.
Whoa.
For the bread. And he broke it and he gave it to his disciples. And then he took the cup and he gave thanks for the cup. So yeah, Jesus.
But is that God giving thanks to God?
Yeah, that's the weird thing, is that that's God thanking God for what God is doing. What? It's weird, right?
Uh-huh.
But there you go.
There's God in there. So,
there you go. Yeah, there's God in there. Yeah, I mean, like that's like that was the first example that jumped in my head. That's God thanking God, and that's pretty cool. So
it's meta.
It's meta. It's meta. That's pretty. That's Jesus. All right, he's pretty meta. What are some creative ways to express gratitude to others, especially that you may not know well? And we kind of lifted up like giving and supporting ministries and like foundations and stuff like that and churches. So, you know, we've covered that one, I think, pretty good. But what are some other creative ways that we can express gratitude today?
I mean, we talked about this, I think, I can't remember the exact episode, but we talked about this on a prior episode about the 5 love languages. But recognizing, you know, what someone's love language is. So, like, if quality time's it, then you can show your gratitude by, like, spending quality time. If gift giving's it, gift giving, you know. If touch, give them a hug, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, paying attention to what your friends or family or loved ones, like, value, I feel like then you can find, like, the right way to express, like, how thankful you are.
Yeah. One thing that one of my best friends did for Lent is every day he wrote a letter to someone and just like thanked them for like kind of his relationship with them. And I mean, the letter took like 5-10 minutes to write. And he gave me one, and I have that letter. Like I still have that letter, and I read it from time to time. And he just like thanked me for things that I had forgotten about, you know. That seemed inconsequential to me, but really made an impression on him. And I think that's a great thing, you know. Like over the week of Thanksgiving break, right? Write a letter every day to just one person, right? I think that's really good. I also think that if you are not showing gratitude to like your waiters or the valets or the people who do your hair, then like you really should go read the Bible. like I just like the people who are like mean to like service people are just, they kill me, you know. And it's like, oh my goodness, these people are working hard for you, you know. And obviously you can show your thanks through like a tip, but you can also just be kind to them and say thank you, you know, when they bring the food or when they finish cleaning your car or whatever it is. Like just those basic affirmations of like thanks are just, I think, good.
I think for maybe someone closer to you, you could thank them for who they are, and if you know they go to church, something that I love to say is, I really do see the light of Christ through you. And I know people take that pretty well when I've said that in the past, so, and I think that just conveys how thankful I am that they are who they are.
Yeah, I like that. One thing that people say that I do like is, I'm grateful for who you are and whose you are. And I like that.
That's a bar.
That's a bar.
Last thing I'm going to say, which I feel like is a weird tie, but I think I can make it work, is like, I was thinking about like grace, how we're always like, there's grace for it. And, like, in a weird way, you're showing thankfulness for, like, all of a person, even the bad qualities, when you do extend, like, grace, forgiveness, those types of qualities. So, I mean, I think thankfulness you can tie into, like, a lot of different parts of
for sure
life.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what this season's about, right? And kind of the prayer with this podcast is that you would be encouraged and convicted even to show gratitude in all the different ways and for all the different things and for all the different people, you know. And some people, it's funny. Ooh, that's some pretty bad thunder. Yeah. Some people, they'll oftentimes like come up to me and they'll say like, "Hey, John, I don't know if you think this is right, but I want you to like pray for my cat." And like, yeah, 100% we're going to pray for your cat because one, it's part of God's creation, and like, that's that. But also too, like, that's a blessing in your life, and like, we want to thank God for that, and also we're going to pray that things work out. You know what I mean? Like, we should be thankful for the small stuff, and we should be thankful for these things that like we just don't think we should be thankful for. Like the color blue is really cool, you know, and that there's nothing wrong with being thankful for that. So gratitude's important. To close, I don't know if that got picked up on the mic, but I said to close, and then there's very dreadful thunder in the background. What is something that you are very grateful for through the Wesley Foundation? An experience or something that like you see weekly, something like a characteristic of Wesley that you are thankful for?
I'm really thankful for Wesley introducing me to a home church that I've got to learn a lot more about God through in addition to Wesley. And I'm also really thankful for the friendships I've developed through Wesley, and I think I'm going to have them for a pretty long time. I'm
going to go with food.
Dude, that thunder.
You're going to think we have a soundboard.
Yeah. I think, like, I don't know if our partner churches, how much they know, if they know how, like, much that makes our weeks when we get a home-cooked meal. And, like, how I know that that wasn't just money to buy the ingredients, but it's time, and it's them picking out a recipe, you know, like, all these different aspects of it, and it just reminds you of home. Like, it's, yeah, I'm going to go with the meals.
Yeah, something that I am super passionate about in this ministry, and something that I'm very grateful for, is the fact that we are inter-campus. I know a lot of campus ministries that like they will do College of Charleston and they'll do the Citadel, but they do not intermingle. Like they have a College of Charleston retreat and a Citadel retreat. And you know, if the Wesley Foundation was like that, I would never have met Hannah.
Aww.
And like I would have never have met like my good friend John Wilson, and I would have never met David Days or Nico Brace or any of these like really great people. So I just really love the fact, and I've always loved the fact that we're inter-campus. So that's what I'm grateful for.
That's a good one. Well, with that, I think we know what's up with gratitude. If the listeners have any questions, you can reach us at wuw@wesleychs.org. And also, don't forget to like or follow or comment on whatever platform you're listening to.
Yeah, and check out our website, which is wesleychs.org. You can learn a good bit about who we are, and you can also get in contact with us through that. And also, check us out on Facebook and Instagram, because we got a lot of good information on that and just a lot of good posts. And with that, we're going to pray. God, thank you for this time together. Thank you for this season of gratitude, and we just ask that you be with us and help us to just really appreciate all the good things in our lives. Help us to give thanks in all circumstances, and help us to consider it pure joy when we face trials, because we trust in your goodness, and we trust in your grace, and we trust in your promise. Help us to show gratitude, help us to receive gratitude, and just help us to be aware of all that you are doing in our lives. Bless us as we're over this Thanksgiving break. Give us safety, give us peace of mind, and just give us some good quality time with those that we love. And it is in your name that we pray. Amen. Have a happy Thanksgiving.